All right, so let's see, it's recording. Hi, Lauren. Just wanted to, actually, let me do this again. All right, so morning, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name is Gino Kabiga from KultureKo, and I'm here with Miss Lauren, who will be presenting to us this very special topic. And before we do that, maybe we can just get to know Lauren a little bit, just an overview. I met Lauren in the Philippines, and she was a special guest during a refined event that happened when it came to Voice of the Free, when it came to anti-human trafficking measures. So Lauren was our keynote speaker, coming all the way from the US and going to the Philippines and just really engaging with the people over here. So that's how I met Lauren. And now we're meeting digitally, and Lauren's here to talk about a topic that relates to many of us today, especially during COVID, which is dealing with happiness under pressure. So without further ado, take it away, Lauren.
Hi, Gino. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to sit and do a little Q&A with you now that we've wrapped up the presentation. So we met at the Refined for the Voice of the Free event, and that was my first time in the Philippines. I was there as an ambassador for the Voice of the Free with Ma'am Cecilia. And that was an incredible opportunity to speak there. And so I'm looking forward to sharing the presentation that we hosted earlier on, happiness under pressure, and just chatting with you now. So thanks for having me here. Salamat po.
Thanks, Lauren. So we'll record your presentation, we'll send that out shortly. But so we'll go over to Q&A really quick in regards to your presentation, little by little, and we'll have some fun questions as well. So you talked about core values as being essential during these times. Is there a particular core value that for you personally, you would really want to focus on during these times?
Absolutely. So there's three. Number one core value is trust. Go with your intuition, follow your gut. Know that is never going to steer you wrong. Your gut is always there as an enforcer for protection for yourself. So number one, core value, trust. Secondly, compassion. We're all here for a very short time. We're all just guests here, and it's our duty to make sure that we treat all living beings, no matter the diversity, geographical location, past, present, or future issues, that we treat everyone with compassion. And thirdly would be mindfulness. Is a core value is to be mindful, to acknowledge the fact that there is a veil, an illusion that there's a plane flying above me, sorry about that.
No, go for it.
Mindfulness, that, to remove the illusion of how we expect everything to always be, and to remember that if we can be right here, right now, we can see things for what they really are, instead of making up a story in our head that serves whatever we're trying to feed our ego, or whatever question we're asking in our mind. And we talk about changing the narrative in the presentation. So you can learn more about that from watching the presentation.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, so since the presentation was also not fully recorded, do you mind sharing the presentation again? Is that something you could do? We can sort of take a pause from the Q&A and insert that presentation.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
How about let's check out that presentation. That Q&A was a little teaser. We'll go back.
Walang problema.
Yeah, Walang problema. Perfect. Tagalog too. You'll get more Tagalog from Lauren as well as the presentation goes on. So is it okay if you share your screen, Lauren, so that viewers can see your wonderful presentation in regards to happiness?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me see. Go here. Oh, can you please enable participant screen sharing?
I shall do that right now.
Thank you. Okay. So here we are. We're going to, oh, actually, let's do, okay.
And Lauren's all the way, so we're in 2 different countries right now for the viewers. I'm in the Philippines
Isn't
currently.
technology fantastic?
Yeah, and Lauren's in Florida, so here we are.
So here we are. Okay. Oops. Slideshow from beginning. Okay. So so should we just run through it?
Yeah, go through the whole presentation, this wonderful presentation, and we'll go back to the Q&A after. But that first question was a little teaser about your presentation, so let's hear it.
Oh, okay. So let's hear it. Let's just go with it. It's fine because it's COVID and we're connecting and it's fine. So happiness under pressure. What does this mean? What does this look like for us? So what tools can we take away and implement in our everyday lives? So we're going to talk about 3 key factors, 3 components that you can utilize and take away from you right after this presentation. So first and foremost, I'm not even going to ask you what it is you do every morning. I'm not going to ask you to tell someone what you do every morning, and I'm not going to ask you to write them down. What we do in the mornings is for us. So whatever you do in the morning to ensure that you are the best human being and the best version that you can possibly be before you even step out into the world, whatever those things are, do those things. Do whatever it is that you need to do in order to feel good, in order to move forward and to feel in your power. I get how important having that morning routine is. And if you have a morning routine that you need, that you benefit from, whether it's having your morning coffee, a breakfast, you know you can't leave the house without a granola, do those things. Don't neglect yourself. Yes? Okay, next slide. So happiness under pressure during COVID. How does this look any different than happiness under pressure anyway, prior to what we knew, right? What the past normal was is now no more. We're in unprecedented, uncharted territories now that we're experiencing COVID-19. So happiness is a little bit more difficult to manage. It's a little bit more difficult to find, or is it? Next slide. Delivering happiness to yourself. So the 3 components, 3 tools you can take away today is management, defining your core values. It's going to be movement, right? It's going to be mindfulness. These 3 tools are going to transform not just your way of thinking or your day, but essentially transform your entire life if you utilize them to help you bring you back into your power. And that is where ultimately your happiness resides. Next slide, management. So number 1 is management. We're going to focus on boundaries, setting healthy boundaries. This is important beyond measure because if we don't have boundaries, then we can allow anything to penetrate into our happy place. And our happy place is our private space. It's where we feel the most comfortable. It's where we have our highest self-esteem. It's where we nurture our emotional energy so that way we can restore it, so we can go out into the world and be our best version of ourselves. We feel in our power when we have boundaries set up, and this is under management of self-care. So if you don't have any boundaries, now is a good time to set some in place. You don't have to do it right this moment, but it's definitely something to write down if perhaps you're taking notes while you are reviewing this presentation with us. Core values. If you don't have any, now's a good time to identify what those are. Be willing to let go of anything not adding value to the life that you ultimately want to experience. We see this idea of core values. You know, Tony Hsieh, who runs Zappos, he talks about delivering happiness in his book, about creating the ultimate customer and work culture. Core values are fundamental. Connection is fundamental. It's why we came here. So your own personal core values, these are just as important. Companies hire and fire by these core values, and you should do the same. If you wouldn't advise a company to settle for mediocre, then I would advise that you don't settle for mediocre yourself. Next slide. So how do we ultimately get into our power? That's going to be under the management of the biggest and greatest relationship that we can have, and that is the one with ourselves. So make sure to take time, take naps, take a beat if you need to, but nurture that self-love within, that inner child that maybe wasn't once heard down the line and returns and maybe ever so gently tugs at your shirt in the middle of a meeting or throughout the day while you are running around managing your life, and it says, hey, look at me, feed me, I need attention right now. You have to have the time with yourself to nurture yourself, so that way these interferences don't arise when something important is on the horizon for you. So this is very important to take away. You know, self-love is the ultimate partnership that one can create. So under management, self-love is, you know, right there. Next slide. Tip: if it doesn't taste good, my friends, spit it out. It's that simple. If you can't decide how to make boundaries, if you can't decide on what a boundary looks like to you, or if maybe you're being too pleasing or not pleasing enough, if it doesn't taste good, if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't immediately excite you to say yes, then spit it out, let it go. It doesn't serve your greatest purpose, your experience, so you have to let it go. Remember, companies are willing to hire and fire on their core values. You are your own entity. This should be no different. So when we review management, the reset button, review your morning routine, whatever that looks like for you. Sometimes it's what we do in the morning that can knock our entire day out of alignment from our happiness. And so sometimes just a good rest is what we need in order to see the new day with fresh eyes and a new perception. So next slide, movement. This is going to be the second tool to walk away with, movement. If you're not moving, this might sound a bit aggressive, but if you're not moving, you're dying. Nature is the natural healer. So to feel alive, to be in alignment with your highest power, move in nature. Spend as much time outdoors as possible. And if you don't, if you're unable to go to a park or anything, going outside in your backyard, even stepping outside on your front lawn, barefoot, put your feet in the ground, get your hands in some soil, garden, grow, be in nature, tap the root of the ground and feel it. It's a natural way to feel connected, and that's ultimately what we want in order to feel good, is to feel connected, and we are all connected to each other, and that is much greater than just the self as an individual. Next slide. When we talk about feeling happy, we can think about these three components in movement. You have a choice. Life is about choices. I know that we are wired and programmed and institutionalized to follow routines and behaviors and guidelines. And if you do this, this, and this, you'll have a better life. You'll have a happier life. If you go to college, get married, have kids, well, then what? So you have to remember that your life is managed by you. The movement, your actions, it requires you to be an active participant. Your life is right now. This thing happening is your life, and you're living it. So you have choice. And remember that what you're not changing is still ultimately a choice as well. A lack of movement is movement in no direction, and that can hinder and harm your happiness. So keep that in mind if you're feeling unhappy. Perhaps you're overlooking a decision that you need to make in order to maybe make a decision. Go to the mountain, get a different perception, right? And if you can't get to a mountain, and if you've never climbed a mountain, then close your eyes and visualize a mountain, and visualize at the very beginning and base camp and getting your way to the first few steps of climbing to the mountain until you finally trek up to the peak and what that feeling of setting your foot on top of the mountain feels like. That view that you have is not the same view you had at base camp. So remember, no one can climb your mountain for you. And when you get up there, your perception is a whole new perception. And don't you want to meet that person that has a different perception than the person that you are, that you know, at the base of the mountain? You become essentially more expansive from the higher view that you look at things. So remember to have a mountain point of view, and this can ultimately help and enhance our happiness if we can just change our perception. And a way to change our perception is by changing the narrative. So a lot of the times we think to ourselves, it's not necessarily what we're thinking, it's what we're asking ourselves to respond to that triggers our thoughts into negative narrative scenarios. So change it from why am I unhappy to everything is always working out for me. And you'll see how when you change this narrative, your mind can't respond and say, why am I unhappy? Well, because things are never working out. Instead, you're saying everything is always working out for me, and you respond to yourself and say, what else is possible? How much more fun does this get for me, right? So it's knowing that you have choice, you're not stuck, you have free will. Critical thinking comes when you know that you have choice and that you can make a decision. Don't let your upbringing of being institutionalized hinder your active participant membership in this lifetime that you have on loan to you. Get a different perception, change the narrative. Next slide. Remember that, remember that movement is choice, movement is action. Life requires movement. It's important that we dance, that we sing, that we give, that we plant, that we volunteer, that we share and exchange our energy in our home with the people we love. And if we can't do it in our home, then we can do it via Zoom or Skype or FaceTime. And when the rephasing starts to integrate worldwide and we're allowed to get back into our communities, then movement is required of us to go out into our community and give there as well. And we just see that it's all cause and effect, right? What we give, we receive back, and that essentially makes us happy because we feel fulfilled from giving of ourselves. And when light passes on light, it doesn't extinguish or lose any light, it just grows. And so that is what your participation in your life enhances, is your light. So remember that, to move, to always be moving, whether it's in choices or action or physical, it's all very nurturing for you. Next slide. Remember who you are. Bring your inner child out to play. Bring the magic back. Have fun with it all. Remember when you were a kid and you used to chase or fight lions, or maybe you were a pirate or a ballerina, right? You put the tutu on, you put the mask on, you put the cape on, and you played and you dared to dream, and thoughts become things. And so when we can create magic in our minds, we start to experience and see it in our reality as well. So the benefits of movement: it reduces anger, fear, stress. Have you ever sang a song and felt terrible after? Well, maybe, I guess it depends on the song you're singing, right? But like happy, upbeat songs, ones that make you want to move around. Singing, movement, physical activity, it increases pleasant feelings, so we can create space for more feeling good feels. Movement contributes to pleasure, to emotional and physical senses. It makes us feel alive, so move whenever possible. And remember, it is always possible, even if it's just pacing back and forth in the kitchen or around the block, you can always move. If you need a reset yourself from the physical and the emotional perception that you have. Take 10 seconds. You can do 10 increments of 10 seconds. You can do one increment of 10 seconds, but count to 10 in your mind. Visualize what's in front of you, see it, count to 10. You can come back to the present moment and remember that everything that you are perceiving, whether you're in a business environment or in a relationship, if you count to 10, you can come right back and be centered and grounded, right? So movement of the mind, that it requires you to, yes, be still, but it requires movement for you to be an active participant in being present right now. So counting to 10 is really beneficial to bring us back to the moment. And then there's the next option, and preferably my favorite, if I have access to the resource, but cold adaptation, cold showers, jumping in fully clothed into a pool or an ocean or a lake or a rain puddle. It triggers and resets our mind from the physical to the mental response that we're having. And then we're able to say, oh, wait, what was I just worried about? That's not a big deal. Forget about that. Wait, let's have more fun. Let's dance. Let's sing. Right? So it helps to rewire, reprogram the mind, and also helps to repair the DNA. So cold water is really beneficial. So is deep breathing. And so these two come hand in hand when repairing the DNA, which is also very helpful. So these are healthy, helpful ways to reset ourselves and bring us back to our inner peace. So that brings us to mindfulness. This is the third tool that you can take away and actively use to ignite your happiness under pressure. So inner peace is the source of all happiness. We are mirror reflections of one another. What we feel on the inside is what we perceive to be on the outside. So if you're walking out and you're happy, you are going to walk outside and people are going to say hi to you and you're going to be like, man, what a cool day. This, like, how does it get any better than this? But if you are walking outside and you are not doing your morning routines, or you didn't sleep very well, you're walking outside feeling offended just because a woman walked past you and maybe didn't even acknowledge you, or, right, like maybe you miss your tuk-tuk or your bus or the taxi. Like, we take offense to it if our mind is in an offensive state. So to remember that what we're choosing to see is a reflection of how we're feeling, always. So the benefits of mindfulness: it increases awareness, it reduces stress, it redirects thoughts, and develops concentration. Mindfulness is so important when we think about how we want to feel the entire day. We have to be mindful. We have to acknowledge that we are here, we are existing, life is happening right now. And when we acknowledge that, we can cultivate more feeling good feels, or more feeling of how we want to feel, and then we can expand that in every connection that we have. So that brings us to a meditation. While I did mention movement, meditation and stillness is a great way to reflect and to bring us back to being right here, right now. So let's go ahead and actually sit in a comfortable position. Let's rest our eyes. We'll fold our hands in our lap. With ease and gentle reminder to yourself that nothing needs to be forced right here. This is just a simple meditation. I'm going to guide you through it, and it's going to be fine. So with your eyes closed and your hands in your lap, I want you to imagine a gold speck of light in your chest. As you take your inhale and you take your exhale, I want you to imagine on the inhale, white light coming in. On your exhale, I want you to imagine dark smoke being blown out. I want you to imagine with every inhale and every exhale that the gold hue of light is expanding. You can feel the awareness from your head to your earlobes, to your lips, to your neck, to your shoulders, to your spine, to your hips, to your legs, to your ankles, to your feet, to your toes. Take a deep breath in, inhale white light, exhale black smoke. The black smoke is a visual that we imagine for any burden that's weighing us down, any decision perhaps that we haven't made, anything that is weight on our shoulders is released with the exhale of black smoke. And when we inhale the white light, it releases that black smoke to go away, never to return again. When we let go and we make space for more good to come into our life and flow. So on this next inhale, imagine the gold hue surrounding your entire body. Imagine the white light bringing in all the light, demising all the black smoke. As you exhale, you release it all, never to be seen again. Good. Now, as you open your eyes, imagine this gold hue of light around you. No matter what happens throughout your day, nothing can penetrate through that gold hue. And the light that you have that shines is recognized in you and in every connection you make along your way throughout your day. And it's important that after we meditate, that we always dedicate. Now, we could say, for instance, we'd like to dedicate the meditation we just did on our inner peace of peace within to the happiness of all living beings throughout the world. You see, dedication of merit allows us to share all the blessings that we've just accumulated and all the goodness that we've earned to whatever we dedicate to. So my wish is that this meditation brings you happiness. Next slide. Remember that you are the creator of your own reality. If you change your mind, you can transform your life. If you need a reset for mindfulness, I have learned throughout COVID, and what I plan to take away with me after COVID is saying it's fine. It's fine. Or in Tagalog, Walang, problema. It's no problem, because no matter what it is or who it is, it's going to be fine. If we can release the expectation of everything being expected to us, and we trust that what is meant for us will find its way to us, we can trust and let the rest go, because everything that is meant for us, everything that is meant to be ours, is on its way to us. And anything that is not, whether it's in partnership, business, in any aspect, we can identify and say, oh, that wasn't meant for me. And remember, life is not what is happening to you, it's what's happening for you, and things are always working out for us, right? It's walang problema. So next slide. That brings us back to being here now. Nature is a wonderful reflection and representation of how we can learn to be if we just sit still for a moment. If we just acknowledge a bird perhaps in a tree, how delicate they are, how aware they are, how gentle, and how they move with ease, we can do this and integrate this in our life as well. So be here now, slow down, let your surroundings be your guide, and it will transform your entire day. Next slide. So that brings us to delivering happiness to yourself, and you see the pressure is unnecessary. With management, movement, and mindfulness, you can transform your day, and if practiced continually, can transform your entire life. So let's connect. I'm Lauren Hubbard, Gratus Guru. I help coach individuals on gratitude and leveling up in their relationships and in their own life. Feel free to find me on Instagram. I post videos on YouTube, and also if you have any questions, feel free to email me, ask me, and I would love to help guide and coach and counsel you through whatever it is that's on your mind. So, Salamat po. Thank you very much, and I will let Gino take it away from here.
Well, thank you, Lauren. Thank you for that presentation. Just hearing you and just looking at your presentation, I feel at peace. I have that sense of happiness just for the simple pictures, the way you're communicating. I think it's great what you're sharing to us, to me, and to the individuals watching. There's a lot of important lessons that we can learn from your presentation. For me personally, the one slide that really got to me is you mentioned you are the creator of your own reality. Change your mind, transform your life. And basically, despite, like, I know you're always happy, but I know there's also a process to that. It's not something that comes in easy. Can you share with us, like, how do you create your own reality? How do you create this happy reality day in, day out? Is it easy for you, or is it something that's, could be struggling at times?
I will tell you, in all vulnerability and in all honesty, beautiful people do not just happen. They climb their way out of the trenches, they fight, they pick themselves up, and they know ultimately that forgiveness wins. When we remember this, we understand that it is an active effort every single day to choose to be happy, to choose to have compassion, to choose to be mindful, to acknowledge who and what we see in front of us. It takes practice, it takes effort, it takes free thinking to say, why doesn't this feel right? Maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe I have a choice in this situation. How can I feel better than what I feel right now? So every day, it's an active reminder to participate in the life that you want to experience and to show up for that life, because you are ultimately the creator. You get to define and decide how you want to feel, and that starts from the moment that you wake up and your head lifts the pillow, right? And we should have gratitude throughout the day, because throughout the night, our heart beat for us. We woke up in the morning, right? So it all just starts right there with that morning routine. It's so important. And it does take active effort throughout the day. It's not easy. It does take effort. And I'm, hopeful that these tools will help prepare anyone who may be looking to feel better than the way that they feel now, and implement those into their everyday life to feel better as well.
So you mentioned morning routine, you caught that, and then I remember in your slide you mentioned to review your morning routine and to sort of have this reset. You mentioned about the cold showers, that's therapy, and walking in nature, stepping outside and seeing even your front lawn. I mean, personally for me, condo, I open up the window and get some fresh air, right? Do you feel that in these times, is there any particular habits or morning routines that can help out for individuals who are, let's say they're stuck at home, during lockdown, it's getting to their mind like, oh, when is this going to end? And then you're left with these thoughts in the morning. And so imagine starting your morning this way, where is COVID done yet? Is the lockdown done yet? And the reality, like, it's still happening. So is there anything that you should reset or you should review to sort of have this additional factor in your morning routine? Science that you feel can help individuals out who may have this mindset going on?
Yeah, I think that if you have the resource to take a cold shower, then do that. Even if you are fully clothed, you turn on the cold water and you jump in. Like, jump in, reset yourself, and go, oh wait, I'm alive, I'm good. What do I have gratitude for? Like, how can I make today fun again, right? And if that doesn't work for you, then throw on some music, Zoom in your family, do some karaoke, have fun, find a way to make your life meaningful. Find a way to connect to other people. Do you know what seldomly happens anymore? Are handwritten notes. When's the last time you received a handwritten note? They're just magic in the mailbox. And it's so fun when you get one and it's not a bill or someone wanting something from you, and you open it up and it just says, like, you're special, thank you for being you. Can you imagine inspiring someone just because they read that thought? I mean, pick 5 people, send them a letter, and watch how that doesn't start to activate more feeling good feels for you throughout your day. And you'll be like, this COVID thing is really working out for me. So it's just changing our perception, getting creative, bringing the magic back. and ultimately being a kid again, you know, just having fun with life. Like, this is such a good time because the distractions are away. And if you can't get outside, what did you used to do when you were a kid? You know, did you draw? Were you creative? What did you do? And go back to those again. Find out what inspires you, because maybe you're also in a position where you're not certain what you want to do, or perhaps you had to seek unemployment because of COVID. Now is the time to identify who you want to be coming out of this. We're all in a cocoon right now. We're about to emerge with wings, and you can make yours as colorful as you want it to be.
Great, like, you know, just like your energy, it's so great. You know, you mentioned about the cold shower. You know, it's blazing hot here in the Philippines, so I right away, right in the morning, hop in that cold shower. And you're right. Despite the situation that's going on, like my mind just resetted. Like it sort of gave me that feeling, like, oh, the cold shower hits, and then it sort of resets you. So I can like attest to what you mentioned about the cold shower, and it does help into that reset type of mindset, despite what we hear, despite what's going on. For some reason, I guess an unexpected feel of like how it's going to hit you this morning, it does reset your mind to get you thinking of something separate. The other thing that I did that you did mention is karaoke. You know, Philippines, and I'm sure you know, you've been to the Philippines. We love to sing. I try to sing. I'm not the greatest, but you know, is there for you personally? This is more of like a fun fact question, but you do karaoke in the Philippines, so you have to pick like a song or songs. Is there any happy songs that make you feel alive, that make you feel happy?
Oh, yes. And I will just say I am not a good singer. However, I really feel when I do car karaoke in the Philippines that I'm a star. And my go-to song is Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley. It's delicious. If you haven't done it, do it. And then any Disney song, like, sign me up.
Aladdin, The Little Mermaids, and all those things, right? So,
Exactly.
fascinating. You mentioned childhood. I think that's such a big part, despite us working, despite us, you know, trying to live. A lot of us living adult lives or living that adult life. I think having this mindset of like stepping back. You know, one of my favorite books is The Little Prince, and then it mentions that simple aspect of like looking at the simplicity of things and looking back at our childhood. I think that connects us to that simplicity matter. So when you also talk about dedicate your merit, do you feel that sometimes we have to take a step back into our childhood in order to find out like what can we dedicate, what kind of merit can we dedicate? Is that something that you feel can help what you mentioned about dedicating your merit, your blessings to others?
So this is a good thing to point out, because dedicating your merit, and listen, it doesn't have to be after a meditation. It can be after washing the dishes. Karma is cause and effect, right? So when we think about karma in this way, and we know that we're accumulating merit by doing something with joyful effort, without any expectation, because it feels good, we know that we can happily dedicate all that good karma to go out into the world and to benefit anything that we wish, right? So in our instance, we did the meditation and we wished or dedicated for happiness for all living beings. Now, I would say that you can dedicate based on anything that you wish. I just love dedicating to world peace. I really believe it's going to happen one day. So that's what I ultimately go for. But to answer your question about the childhood, this is something separate from that. Childhood is, it's important to go back there to focus on inner child work. It doesn't have anything to do with dedicating what you do now, although you absolutely could do a meditation, go back to your childhood, and then dedicate to the healing of past inner child wounds that perhaps have not been healed. And that will bring immense reward and mental ease, especially if you're working through past issues that no longer serve you now in your adulthood, right? So healing the inner child is important. Bringing out the magic from your childhood is important. And also being mindful that we always dedicate our merit, because we know that what goes around will come around, and everything that you put out, because energy is source and you are energy, will come back to you. So it's important that we always keep the full circle in momentum, because we're all connected, all of us. And one day this COVID thing is going to end, and there will be a lot of wonderful wows in store for us, you know?
Excited for that moment too. And you know, one last question. So you mentioned your merit is like going towards world peace, right? And I know when I met you in the Philippines, you were doing that. You were doing that, and it was wonderful to see that you're advocating last minute. You're just, I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk indoor fine in front of people who I don't know last second. And you dedicated your merit towards sort of like eliminating human trafficking here in the Philippines and around the world. And, you know, just to backtrack a little bit, we held an event at the Mind where it does advocate towards ending human trafficking with Center of Hope, with Voices of the Free, it's helping us out. And then it's sort of like, you know, we wanted to share not only in the Philippines, but to the world, like, it's a problem. It's a global problem, and we're here to end it. And you know, last minute, they told me about it, and I'm like, I was excited to hear you being the guest appearance, and you really, you know, made some connections. You made really meaningful impacts to different people in that event. And so with that, you know, Voices of Free Human Trafficking, is there anything, you mentioned volunteering, is there anything that you're doing now currently during the situation that you're dedicating your merit towards, you know, certain world peace? Or is there a lot of
there was a lot there, and I just want to say, I know when I did that speech and I spoke on behalf of Voice of the Free, I did lead a guided meditation, and it was for the audience to close their eyes and imagine being age 1, and essentially everything that you know stripped away from you, your family, your friends, your toys, everything you've ever known. Waking up in a basement with burn marks on your body, not knowing where you are, not knowing where your family is, having your body used and exposed for someone else's pleasure. And the preface of that speech was, men don't sell girls, they help raise them. When we asked everyone to open their eyes after that meditation, it was to say, this could happen to anyone. These are our nation's daughters, and it's important that we do something about it. So I'm still actively very much a Voice of the Free. I'm still an iFight ambassador. I'm very fortunate that as a former beauty queen, that I was able to have a platform to go and be a voice for those who were not being heard. And that doesn't stop just because I'm not a beauty queen anymore. People are my passion. Connection is why I am here, and that is to connect as much as I can, whether that's information or purpose or magic, right? Like, we're here for a reason. We all matter, and it's to say, I see you, I hear you, I'm here for you. So that work will never end. And back home here in America, I'm just really being dutiful to my community and volunteering at the food bank, helping our neighbors in need. And then I have some really exciting stuff coming up in the works, and hopefully that will also be more international outreach to benefit organizations like the Voice of the Free in the Philippines, and also, you know, here in America as well. Like, there's no short of service. We can always find a way to make an impact. So I'm thankful for everything that you said in the beginning of that, and also looking forward to coming back and helping pursue that mission and expanding that outreach further.
So you're a beautiful soul, Lauren. You really are. You know, hearing your future updates, hearing what you're doing, what you did as a beauty queen, and even after, seems like you're always trying to push yourself to better yourself in a sense. And so with that, maybe you can leave us with some inspirational words on how we can continue to better ourselves. Like, what are some practices that you do that can help us be Lawrence, be the inner Lawrence, release our inner Lawrence, and be like you?
Make a lot of mistakes and then learn from them. That's the only way that you're ever going to realize that you are infallible. Your life is not promised to you. You will age, you will change. People will come in your life and they will go. But it is all for a reason. And if you can remember that you are the expression of all your life experiences, wouldn't you want to show the immense beauty that all that pain brought you? So just remember that you are your own ambassador. Every day you have a choice to walk out into the world and say, I'm here for you, or I've been stunted by life. But here's the thing, we're all in this together. No life is more difficult or challenging than another's. And if you think anyone out there has it all together, I promise you they don't. It's an effort that you make every day. And through movement, through mindfulness, through management, through these 3 tools, you can really gain a reality on happiness and understand that it comes from within. Inner peace comes from within. And that's the magic of life. Like, doesn't matter what's going on out in the world. As long as you're happy in here, as long as you make an effort, the rest is all just a reflection of that.
Make sure that, like you said, mention the ambassador, right? That's something I'm going to have to focus on. Thank you once again, Lauren. Like, a lot of learnings here, even through the Q&A, a lot of things to start our mornings or end our evenings with on a great uplifting note. And like, sincerely thank you for this. We didn't practice. Everything is just really done on call. And for you to share this to us and to the world, in the Philippines or the U.S. or anywhere in the world, I hope that you can learn more and do some great tips of work at home. And once again, on behalf of everybody, KultureKo, thank you so much, Lauren, for everything that you do.
Salamat po.
Salamat. Tagalog, it's great.
Magandang gabi po.
Magandang umaga.
Yeah, magandang umaga for you.
Yeah, magandang gabi for you. So,
all right.
So, many more.
Yeah,
Take care and have a good evening.